Welcome, athlete. And those of us in the best of marriages are often surprised when they realize they may not know everything about their spouse.
That's right. Counselor Heather Veer with Valley Christian Counseling Center is here to tell us what your man most wishes you knew about him. Good morning.
Good morning.
This is interesting.
This is a fun topic.
Well, Chris already knows it. I'll be
right.
taking notes.
Right, you'll be taking notes, right.
Yeah.
So this comes from a book by Shanti Feldhahn called For Women Only. And the subtitle is What You Need to Know About the Inner Lives of Men. And she also wrote a companion book for men only, What You Need to Know About the Inner Lives of Women. So she asked over 1,000 men back in the early 2000s. She interviewed them both verbally and in written form, and she asked them a whole bunch of different questions. But at the very end, she asked one open-ended question that they could answer in any form, any way they chose. They could go on a verbal rant about something or things that they wish their spouse or significant other would work on, those types of things. But by far, the thing that she heard most, and the question, I'll tell you what the question was first, is what's the one thing that you wish your spouse or significant other knew, but you aren't able to or can't tell her? And the thing that they answered most was how much I love her.
Wow.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, and it's really fascinating in that I see this a lot when I do counseling with couples. I'm sitting with men and women who oftentimes the woman will make the phone call for couples counseling. A lot of times it's I don't feel loved. He doesn't show me love in the way that I want or the way that I understand it. And then we talk about 5 love languages and whatever. But and the funny thing is, when you ask men, is this true? And they're like, yeah, I want to be able to express this more to my wife or to my significant other, and they just kind of don't know how. So I think part of the deal is that as we've socialized young boys growing up in our culture, there's been a real stress on being strong and not showing emotion, keeping things kind of locked down inside. And that has done such a disservice both to men and women, because now I'm seeing anyway, some of the fallout of that. And I think that there are even many divorces out there. I would go so far as to say there are many divorces out there that probably could have been prevented had men been able, and I'm not blaming men at all. I'm just saying that if there were some more skills or some more verbal abilities to show some of these things, it's really just an unfortunate situation, and so sometimes I'm able to talk with men and talk about what that block is inside of them. Oftentimes it's that they grew up with their father who didn't show any love or affection to their mom, and so there was nothing modeled for them in that manner. And the funny thing is, like, I'll have a wife or a girlfriend say to me, I do a lot of premarital counseling, say to me in the office, I ask him like what he's thinking, what he thinks about something, how he feels about things, and he'll say, I don't know. And the funny thing is that the men agree. They don't know. And I wish that there was like some download I could plug into them that kind of opens up their emotional capacity for thinking in a way that's more kind of relationally, emotionally intimate for their wives. And so I just thought, what a wonderful thing to kind of share with our viewers today, that really, by and large, your men are saying they love you, they want you, and that's what I see. I see that men just really want their wives. It's a beautiful thing, Honestly, it's not like, we live in such a sexualized culture that I think that women can really take on a lot of pressure, a lot of negative feelings, thinking, oh, I'm not fit enough, I'm not smart enough, I'm not whatever enough. And for the most part, what I see is that men just want their girlfriend, they just want their wife, they just want their fiance, and that the pressure isn't as much as really what they're perceiving it is. It's kind of a unfortunate thing,
Well, I think that's a socialization as well. I mean, not to bring this guy up, but Jon Stewart talked about it with the whole Caitlyn Jenner thing, and the first conversations about Caitlyn were, look how beautiful, she is as a woman, and it was never like, wow, that was a great person or any of that stuff. It was just right to that sexualization and physical appearance. So.
Okay, much more on this topic when we come back. Stay with us.